Alright, now say...
Hi everyone, it's Greyson, and this is Greyson Talks Everything. If you're new to the channel, welcome, and if you're not new and are returning, welcome back. Do be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and also follow my Instagram where you can get the latest updates on when videos of mine are coming out, and to just admire some fan art of mine that I regularly post on there as well. Some of my Instagram posts and fan art should be showing up on the screen right now. Alright, and the link to my Instagram is always in my description, but if you want to know my Instagram tag right now so you can follow me immediately, that should be showing up on the screen right now too. Alright, let's get into it. Today I'm going to be talking about what all I watched, or like some of the most biggest stuff that I've watched for the past like 2 weeks now, maybe. And that will consist of the Fear Street Trilogy, Space Jam: A New Legacy, and He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. I have watched a couple of other stuff that are really good, but I really want to touch these. So yeah, let's get into it. Again, subscribe, follow my Instagram, and let's just get into it. I'm excited to have this conversation with you all. So last Friday on July 16th, the Fear Street Trilogy saga ended. And if you didn't know, the Fear Street Trilogy is a horror film series based on R.L. Stine's book series of the same name. And what I found interesting and what I found brilliant about the Fear Street Trilogy is that when it appeared on Netflix, which I also think sadly the marketing team didn't didn't hype up, is that it's a literally 3-week event. It's a trilogy event. The first part came out July 2nd, the second part, which took place in 1978, while the first part took place in 1994. But yeah, the second part came out July 9th, and part 3 came out July 16th. It was like really like spot on. It was like brilliant. It was a brilliant choice in my opinion. And yeah, but the marketing team didn't prop that up properly, so I don't think a lot of people knew about Fear Street. But it's a really good trilogy. I watched part 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to focus more on part 3 this time for this review. But I liked all of them. They're all really good. And there's some really nice references to other classic slasher films, because this is a slasher film trilogy. But there's a lot more behind it. And I really like that about this film trilogy. And it's probably one of my favorite slasher trilogies out there. And I think I like the slasher trilogy so much is because it's just so consistent. I think that's what I really like about it, the consistency and how it's always manages to hit the high levels and the high notes, and also hitting the emotional beats, and also delivering on the kills. It just delivers on like all the quadrants needed for a good slasher film, or a slasher film that's self-referential. It's a great trilogy in my opinion. A lot of people tend to hate it, but I really like it, and it's kind of better and more consistent than some other older slasher film trilogies in my opinion. So yeah. So when I finally watched Fear Street Part 3, 1666 last night, and from the previous 2 parts of the movie, we got the idea that there's a curse on a town named Shadyside, and people are constantly dying because of it. In this part, the root behind the curse was discovered, and we got to know why the people of Shadyside become victims for centuries. First of all, the storyline and the detailings are really impressive, and while the other parts of this trilogy are purely slasher flicks, this movie is mainly based on witchcraft, almost like some other movies involving witchcraft. It was also a brilliant and mythic exploration of how to reconcile with the past and the institutional foundations of it, though. It also touches on multi-generational religious and social control over marginalized groups, and how to express ourselves beyond stereotypes, and learning how to make peace with yourself to end the cycle of control over your agency. It was really brilliant how they tied that all together while still making the movie very fun and very enjoyable, and also at some points very scary and gory. The plot twist was also very satisfying when it came to the second act of part 3, and it's an engaging and a must-watch movie, and a great way to end this amazing trilogy. Now let's talk about this other series that also dropped from Netflix, Masters of the Universe Revelation Part 1. Now, while watching the first episode, I didn't know the first episode twist going in, but when it did happen, I actually didn't take it as personally as some others did, but I was very intrigued. But at the end of part 1, which is 5 episodes if you didn't know, there is another twist that ended up making me really upset. And I think a lot of other viewers watching part 1 would have told Kevin Smith, who is the head writer and producer of the show, that this was a bad idea, and like the Taskmaster twist in Black Widow, it's not done well enough to warrant all the drama behind it in a failed attempt to subvert expectations. It just was not done well. Overall, the show isn't horrible, but it isn't great either. This show is, even though it is a complete continuation of the original story, it is sophisticated and modernized enough to compete with today's anime, and it really feels like an adult version of a kids' TV show. Everything is more vibrant yet still very 80s-like, and the voice cast here is very good, but it took me some time for me to get used to Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy as Skeletor and Merman. I also think they took the best parts about Skeletor's character out of this reboot. Also, for a show like Masters of the Universe, there are surprisingly not a lot of strong leading or supporting male characters that get a lot of spotlight, and there's very weak action spread out throughout the 5 episodes here. I am still very interested in watching part 2 when it comes out, because they really just need to fix that cliffhanger from part 1, because it made me so mad when it happened. Overall, if you aren't at all interested in He-Man or the lore behind it, or surrounding He-Man, if I'm being clear, I don't really recommend you watching this. It's just not good enough for you to even dive in. Now, let's talk about Space Jam 2: A New Legacy. This movie was a new legacy, alright, and not in a good way. Computer animation and special effects sure have come a long way since 1996, because this movie looks fantastic. Unfortunately, that's very few of the positives here, because this 2021 sequel is a bombastic mess, void of anything new aside from the serververse angle, which also doesn't really work. Now, the original was never a masterpiece, given that it mainly served as a celebration of Michael Jordan's return to basketball at the height of his popularity, and a massive commercial for Air Jordans, but then again it was original for its time. The 6 writers here decided not to actually write a movie and instead just copy Ready Player One, and by scouring and unloading the entire Warner Brothers intellectual property catalog on the audience to overload the senses and mask how unoriginal, unnecessary, and contrived this all is. And LeBron James, while a great basketball player and a legitimately great person, he's just not a good actor, but the rest of the cast put in a solid effort with what they got to work with, basically, especially Zendaya as Lola Bunny and Don Cheadle as the villain. I think the problem with this movie is that there isn't really a story to warrant a sequel, let alone the whopping 115-minute runtime. While kids and basketball fans who love LeBron James will surely like this movie, and as previously said, this movie looks fantastic by itself, and it does have some very funny moments, I still think this movie serves the purpose of playing in the background of a party. Yeah, this movie is really just serves the purpose of background music at a really nice party with friends or family. So yeah, that's my review of all the biggest stuff I watched this weekend or this week or so. So what did you think about the movies and TV shows if you watched them yourself? And what did you think about this video? Share your thoughts down below, and again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And again, follow my Instagram where you can get the latest updates on when videos of mine are coming out. And again, to get the latest updates and just see and admire some fan art of mine that I regularly post on there. Alright, bye everyone.